Hello, my name is Natasha Kosanovic and I teach Latin at Hills. I'm also teacher in charge of Latin at Hills and classical civilization as well. This presentation today will be a short introduction into Latin at Hills. So let's start with why would you consider studying Latin at A level? The most obvious and the shortest answer should be simple. If you loved Latin at GCSE, you would love, I hope, even more Latin at A level. Yes, it will become more complex, but that complexity will reveal beautiful structure and unparalleled structure of Latin language, which is finished, not dead, if we talk about classical Latin, and very, very much alive in modern languages. For example, English has a base of 60% of Latin words in its language. Then science, medicine, law, all these fields use Latin very much. Then second reason could be that studying Latin is your mental workout and Latin is your personal trainer. It does so much for your prefrontal cortex that when you realize that you could master Latin, you would realize that you could master pretty much any subject or skill. University and employers are already aware of this. Third reason, it's unique and universal, and it's very, very economic. While you're studying Cicero, Tacitus, Livy, or Caesar, you are studying history, literature, language, and politics simultaneously. While you are reading Ovid or Virgil, you are not studying literature only, you are studying mythology and human behavior. And finally, why study Latin at Hills? Because it's such a rare qualification and Hills offers it, and we are lucky to offer it. So let's start with things we do, and then I will lead you through specification, what requirements are, what assessments are, and something I suppose you are interested in order to decide to join us at Latin. Reading Latin in lessons. You will see one video in which students are reading Latin, Virgil's Aeneid in lesson. And it's not only live Latin language, but it is a real fun for students to gather together and to read it aloud. You will have a chance to listen a sound of Latin verse in presentation of our students.
Atque haec mirantibus sagitis, aspecie ut insignis omnis marcellus opiniis, in reddit.
Let's go to the next slide, which is our assessment. So Latin is divided in 4 components. First component is unseen translation. Section A is always translation of Livy. Section B is translation of verse, and that is always Ovid. Exam is 1 hour, 45 minutes, and it's 100 marks. Together in whole exam, there are 300 marks allotted for the whole exam. Component 2, prose comprehension. So this paper is pretty much similar to a paper which you did in your GCSE paper, including comprehension questions and some translation of the text. So what you have in that component is comprehension, translation, and a bit of accidents and syntax. It's just 5 points for grammar, so it is altogether 50 marks, 1 hour, 15 minutes. You may notice that these first two components are together 150 marks, and this is a half of exam. Component 3 is prose literature. We do set text in prose, which is Cicero. Procluentio will be the set text for the next 2 years. Currently, we are doing Second Philippic by Cicero too. Alternatives to Cicero could be Tacitus or Livy. Anyway, one of those authors will be base of our set text, and we are working on the set text for 2 years. Exam is after 2 years because our specification is linear. Exam is 2 hours, including commentaries, an essay, a bit of translation, and a bit of comprehension of the text. So it's altogether 75 marks. Component 4 is verse literature, including, again, 2 set texts, the same thing as in prose. We usually do Virgil. Next year we will do Aeneid 12. Option could be Catullus as well. In the second year, we are continuing with Aeneid 12. Option could be Ovid Heroides. Exam is also as prose part, 2 hours, written paper, 75 marks, including commentaries, comprehension, and essays. So, as I said previously, first part is 150 points, the second part 150 points too. Let's go on the next slide. Learning grammar through quotes. I suppose if you go through these quotes, at least half of them would sound familiar to you, but maybe you won't think about grammatical aspect of these quotes. So everyone heard about alibi, or how we would pronounce that in Latin, alibi. This is actually adverb, meaning elsewhere, and explaining that someone was elsewhere at the time when crime was committed. Then alter ego. Alter ego, we can translate it as the other me, the other myself. So, but we can take it as our soulmate, our best friend, could be translated like that. Or, for example, agenda and addenda. Agenda, a word which you usually would pronounce as agenda, things which you need to do, things that should be done. And that is exactly translation of a form, of a Latin form, gerundive, which you maybe have heard about at your GCSE Latin, or addenda in a similar manner means things to be added, and it's also gerundive. You may try to test yourself and see how many of those quotes and words you already know. Let's see the next slide. Grammar. We try to systematize grammar in different ways. We do some obvious things such as grammar tables, but this is something which is offering looking at the cases from different perspective. Let's call it multilateral approach to cases. So we are looking at particular ending and thinking what that ending or I or is could be in different declensions, and what case is that in different declensions. Let's go to the next slide. Literature part of our work and our exam is analyzing literature. We analyze prose. Currently, as I mentioned, we are reading Cicero's Philippic II. Next year, set text will be Cicero's Procluentia. And here you can read what was written about Procluentia. That text is actually a Latin thriller. And thanks to the genius of Cicero, the characters in it are still alive after 2000 years. They are real people, and the moving story of their love affairs and family feuds, their crimes and intrigues, and that will help you to understand Latin more, but to have an insight into a life of period Roman Republic in the 1st century BC. And I may say that even plot of this Cicero speech is more complex than Latin itself. Let's go to the next slide. Verse. We usually read Virgil's Aeneid, though there are some alternatives, as I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation. So here there are some analyses of lines of Virgil Aeneid 11. We tend to go to the trips, to London, for example, or as you may see on these 2 pictures, to Rome. And the left picture is from museum at the Capitol, and the other one is just in front of Pantheon, having relaxing time together. So alternative to trip to Rome could be trip to Athens, or not Athens only, but Greece, including Peloponnese and Mycenae, places there. Next slide. We are quite happy and blessed that we live in vicinity of Faculty of Classics at Cambridge University. So it's quite convenient for us, but for our guest speakers to visit us and to give us lectures in different part of our modules, something related to what we are currently doing. So at this picture, you may see Dr. Chris Witton talking about Tacitus to our students. So this is year 13 and year 12 in our Geo 23 classroom. Sometimes we host guest speakers delivering lectures for not only Latin, but classical civilization. But Latin students are very, very happy to have lectures, bespoke lectures, just for themselves. Okay. We compete. We regularly take part in Latin and Greek reading competition. This picture is from Faculty of Classics reading competition in Latin. It was Tacitus and Virgil. Our students both were awarded at that particular competition. We aspire also to take part at Certamen Ciceronianum. This is competition every year in Arpinum, or Arpino in Italy, Cicero's birthplace. Can you imagine 500 classicists, actually Latinists, gathering together to compete in translation and commentaries of Cicero's texts? It's not only about competition itself, but it's about meeting students, Latin students from all over the Europe, gathering together for 3-4 days in Arpinum, in Cicero's birthplace. So we really hope that we will take apart very soon. Though we do not offer, unfortunately, ancient Greek, we learn ancient Greek as a Greek club. Some students are doing Greek either as A-level, either as GCSE, either they already done it as GCSE. So in a Greek club, we have absolute beginners, and we have more experienced students in Greek who are helping their peers to get some view of the language, if not to go into entire complexity of it. We are really proud with our students' performance. A stars to B percentages is quite high, 80%, and pass rate is 100%. So it's something which is steady, and we are quite happy that our students are achieving such results. You may see that in comparison with national Latin results, it's pretty much higher. Students' destinations. Our students are obviously going to study Latin, but not that they are not studying other subjects such as modern languages and law and biology, music, psychology, and what is not included here, for example, medicine or any science. So there is a range of subjects our students are going to continue mastering at university level. So this is presentation by me, and now I will leave our students to talk about their experience at Hills. It will be Audrey and Adam, and I think it will be more interesting for you and the best part of this presentation. Thank you for listening, and I hope to see you soon. Goodbye.
Perhaps it would be nice to share with the people who are listening the reasons why you decided to pick Latin.
I decided to pick Latin not because I planned to do it later on. I do now because I enjoyed A-level so much, but I planned to take Latin because I'd done it at GCSE and really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed learning a language and spending one of your subjects just sort of reading stories and, you know, finding out about culture and history and things like that. And it really ties a lot of subjects I loved together. And so I really wanted to keep on doing that. And Latin was a subject that allowed me to do loads of things I really loved. So
Thank you for sharing, Audrey. I want to hear from Adam as well. I'll just reply real quick. How many students are there in a class? Now with the year ones, I think we're 8. So it's between 8, 9, 7, 10 sometimes. These are roughly the numbers. Adam.
So yeah, I did Latin at GCSE as well, and I really enjoyed it. I love how interdisciplinary the subject is. You know, there's language and there's also literature and culture. It's incredibly, you know, it's a really like diverse subject. And also I want to go on to study archaeology at university. So doing both classical civilization and Latin have given me good background knowledge for that as well. I think they both have been incredibly beneficial for that. And I hope that, you know, the skills I've learned in Latin, both those subjects will help me in the future.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you.